Embracing conflict for new managers. Are you a new manager or a leader in your organization? Are you ready for that first conflict with a team member or with one of your direct reports? Before you try to manage that conflict, have you thought of embracing it, owning it? That's what we're going to cover today before we even look or talk about conflict resolution methods in another episode. Hey there guys, I'm Steven and this is FAS Management Solutions, and this video is for those folks that are leading a team, a group, or working within a team or a department. So in other words, this is intended to benefit everyone. Hey there, I'm Steven and this is FAS Management Solutions. New leaders or managers often fall into two categories when it comes to conflict within your team or your employees. The two most often used categories are on opposite ends of the spectrum. And I'll be honest with you, neither one of them will lead to engagement and idea sharing with your team. So what are they? What are these two polarities that new leaders gravitate towards like life buoys when conflict comes a calling? I'm going to call them the aggressor and the deflector. Now, we can get into the holistic management terms for these positions, but I'd rather work through this in the basic language we all use every day. The base definition of conflict is competitive or opposing actions of incompatibilities, antagonistic state or actions as ideas, divergent interests, and or persons, as described in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Now, what the hell does that mean? Well, the second definition may clarify things a bit more, stating that conflict is the mental struggle resulting from incompatible or opposing needs, drives, or wishes. See, now we can see where this is going a little bit better. When leading a team or a project, look for areas of focus that may seem or may in fact have opposing drives, needs, or internal-external demands. Buzzwords you will hear in this area will be something like operational efficiencies and customer service, inbound receiving and inventory control, or one of my favorites, profit margin scalability and customer value propositions. See, conflict is real and prevalent in our everyday businesses, and we're going to look at a bit at the polar opposites and how they manage conflicts in these two scenarios that I'm talking about to give you a more beneficial and effective solution when working in your everyday environment. So you're in your management team meeting or your department meeting, or maybe you're even just having a conversation with a coworker in your office or in your cubicle. When one side of the conversation decides that there's a better course of action and that other person doesn't get it, that's when our neophyte tendencies start showing themselves as leaders. A manager with a dominant aggressor strategy will often try to bulldoze their colleague, or even worse, these new leaders will say something along the lines of, "There's no need to argue. I'm the boss, just do what I say." But what is that telling your employee? Is that fostering engagement for them? Do you think it leads to your own credibility, or that this person is going to feel that their opinions, thoughts, or ideas matter? If you're shaking your head and saying no to this video, then you're on the correct path. But be honest. Have you done it? A new leader might be able to say no, but as managers can reflect and perhaps cringe, we have all done this at some point. On the other hand, how about the same situation and the leader will not push their ideas, will fall back? Normally exasperated and sometimes in fear, they'll say something along the lines of, "Yeah, that's okay, let's just do it your way." And even more regretfully, this phrase, "Fine, okay, that's fine, whatever you want." That's right, folks, we have the deflector, or the avoidance technique, in full swing in that scenario. This upcoming manager or supervisor wants nothing more than for things to remain in harmony, that they're willing to go along with a potentially bad idea or action in order to avoid conflict. You see, these leaders believe they're doing these things in order to keep the peace or to ensure harmony in the workplace. All right, before we jump into my recommendations, if you are a new leader and you're finding some of these topics or the conversation that we're having relevant or applicable within your current job function, do me a favor, like and subscribe, as I will be putting up new content in this space regularly in hopes of helping you become the best leader that you can be, or for you to share with your team and help them along with their leadership education. Okay, enough of my pandering. So how do we work with conflict in a way that doesn't become aggressive, but also does not avoid the issue at hand? Well, you heard me say it before. We embrace it, we live it, we feel it. We ride that wave of emotions and the ideas that come with it. Before you switch off thinking I've gone on some holistic kumbaya tangent, hang in there with me. Conflict, when used and focused directly, can become very constructive. When those differing opinions, thoughts, ideas are allowed to foster engaged conversations, you're moving into a new territory with your team and with your coworkers that may allow a new exchange of views or ideas. Personal insults or attacks have no place in constructive conflict, but honest feedback and direct communication will lead to robust dialogue on whatever topic you're discussing. I would often tell my team that I love conflict. I love the journey that disagreeing points can take us on as a team. That's the key here. We are a team. You, your coworker, your boss, your direct reports, you're all a team. But wait, my company is built on competition. So if my idea is not chosen, or if I don't give the team the answer, then I'm not living up to my potential. There's so much wrong with that line of thinking, but it's so common that we all struggle with it as leaders and as team members, despite the size of our organization. When looking at conflict or working on opposing ideas, take a step back and try to view the end goal. I'll highlight this with one of the examples that I talked about before. Let's say your operation team wants to drive efficiencies by cutting back their hours of operation, whereas your salesperson wants that operation open 24/7, 365 days for their customer needs. While just taking a cursory glance at this, most people would say that the salesperson is really focused on the customer experience, as in the right frame of mind, until, well, that operations person can show that reduced open time will save X dollars for the company, allowing for those cost savings to potentially be passed on to that very customer. See, both of these folks are working for the betterment of the customer, and only through a robust dialogue with each person sharing her or his view in entirety can that team come up with the best possible solution. Sharing those views and those conflicting ideas, that's the key. And the experience, I want you to go back and experiment with your own managerial or departmental meetings. I call BS on that, Stephen. The company is going to cut the hours of operation and pocket that extra savings, like the management savages that is big business. Well, perhaps, but our concern was that conflict, that passionate sharing of ideas being utilized by those two employees or those two teams in this scenario, were working on the best case solution for their business and for their customers. As a leader, fostering that type of engagement and keeping it up is a continuous battle. You will find yourself pulled in one direction or the other, sometimes slipping back into the aggressor or the deflector persona that we talked about earlier, sometimes crawling in a coal and saying, why the hell did I want to be a leader of people in the first place? By keeping your mind open for your team and driving that conflict, your culture will focus on healthy conflict. You will see your team form into a self-pushing and self-motivating team. Remember to lead through example and that there's no place and zero tolerance for personal asides or insults to find their way into these conflict sessions. Now get out there and start an argument. Engage in some conflicting ideas with your team. You'll see how that same team can take your business into new territory through their ideas. Being a new leader or a manager does not mean being a conflict resolution specialist. It means bringing the best out of your team day in and day out with whatever challenges your business space brings your way. And trust me, when you think you have something all figured out, your business will have a way of tossing you a new obstacle that neither you nor your team have seen before. Now at least you have one more tool in that tool belt to take on those obstacles. Thanks again for watching this video. And please take a moment to throw up a question, a comment, or even a concern down below. Your engagement means the world to me, and I hope this video helps you take one more step on your managerial journey. Until next time.